Roar!
Ew. You're a What? By TheNewYorkBrony. This can't be happening. Twilight approached the horse statue in front of Canterlot High shortly after 11. That was the time Sunset Shimmer had told her to meet her there. Adjusting her glasses, she took a deep breath to calm her nerves. The other girl hadn't said much about the meeting, just that she had something to tell her and that she was bringing a friend, whatever that meant. Reaching the statue, she saw Sunset standing under it with another girl she didn't know. She walked up to them and gave Sunset a wary smile as she shoved her hands in their pockets.
So, what exactly is it that you needed to talk to me about?
She asked.
First,
Sunset said, gesturing to the girl beside her.
Adagio, Human Twilight Sparkle, Human Twilight, Adagio Dazzle.
Human Twilight? Why was Sunset referring to her as Human Twilight? She was just simply Twilight, yes? Why the need for the adding of human in front of it?
Wow,
Adagio said, rubbing her chin and examining her up close and personal. Too personal if anyone asked Twilight.
You're right, Shimmer. She is a spitting image of that other one.
The other one? What other one? As far as she knew, she was the only Twilight Sparkle in the world. What on earth were they trying to say?
Okay, someone wanna tell me what the heck is going on? What's with this other one stuff, and why did you call me Human Twilight?
Twilight pushed her glasses up on her face with a deep frown.
Well...
Sunset started.
That's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about.
She ran a hand through her two-toned locks and sighed.
I know this is going to sound ludicrous, but there's another you.
Twilight was taken aback, more by confusion than shock.
Another me? That's impossible! There's only one me, and that me is, well, me! What are you talking about?
She watched Adagio and Sunset share a look.
Twilight, this other you isn't from this world. She's from a different world. A world full of sapient ponies.
Sunset told her firmly.
Ponies like me.
Twilight just stared at her.
What?
She whispered.
What?
She then repeated, this time a little louder. She put 2 fingers against her temple.
Are you seriously trying to confess to me that there is a world beyond us full of talking ponies and that you came from it? I know it's a lot to take in, but it's true.
Sunset said softly.
I was a unicorn and Adagio was a siren hippocampus thingy.
She pointed to the statue behind them.
And that's a portal to it.
Twilight snorted.
Oh, so now you're going to tell me hippocampi exist? What's next? Pegasi controls the weather and the moon and sun don't rotate on their own?
Adagio frowned.
I'm over 1,000 years old, you know. I could be your mother 300 times over.
She said, folding her arms.
Show some respect.
Twilight sputtered. She spun around to look at Sunset incredulously.
And how old are you?
Sunset raised her hands defensively.
Don't look at me. I've only been here for 3 years.
She sighed.
And yes, Pegasi controls the weather and the sun and the moon are controlled by Princess Celestia and Princess Luna.
Sunset replied.
Look, I know you don't believe us. Believe you?
Twilight shouted, starting to become hysterical.
First of all, it's not scientifically possible for anyone, let alone horses, to control the sun and the moon. The moon has a gravitational pull to the earth and the sun doesn't move. We revolve around it. You really expect me to believe that you are a unicorn from...
She blinked.
What is this place even called? Equestria.
Sunset corrected her.
I'm from Equestria, the land below the sea. Haven't been there in years.
Adagio added conversationally, examining her nails.
Real shame. The sea ponies are lovely creatures to torture. Torture?
Twilight repeated. She turned to Sunset.
What the hell is she talking about?
She demanded, waving her arms wildly. Twilight wasn't one to curse, if one could even consider hell a curse at all. But this whole thing was just so bizarre.
Equestria is a land full of magic,
Sunset explained.
Unicorn magic, Pegasus magic, heck, even earth ponies have some magic. And we have lots of creatures like hippocampi and hydras, ursas, and a bunch of other ones I can't remember. That doesn't explain the torture,
Twilight reminded her.
I was getting to that,
she responded, rolling her eyes.
There's good magic and there's bad magic. Me and Daddy, well, we used to possess some real bad mojo. I turned into a she-demon and she was a siren who fed off the misery and strife of others. Now she's a human who feeds off of hamburgers and tacos. Yes, thanks to you and your friends,
the former siren said, playing with the now useless amulet around her neck.
So, do tell the human how me and my idiots had our powers for hundreds of years while you only had it for all of 20 minutes.
Sunset made a sound that sounded like a dog growling.
Long story short, I kinda sorta brought an ancient artifact belonging to you, the other you, who's a princess by the way, through the portal.
She tapped the smooth marble behind her.
I wanted to use it to take over Equestria with an army of high school students turned ponies. You brought an ancient artifact from another world into this one and you didn't think of the negative consequences that it would have had on you?
Twilight asked in pure disbelief.
And don't you think it would have been completely futile to go back into a world you haven't been in for years to battle princesses who control the frickin' sun and moon? Huh.
Sunset blinked.
When you put it that way, it almost sounds asinine and half-assed. That's because it is!
Twilight shouted and Adagio deadpanned in unison.
And what's that ring around your neck?
Twilight demanded, pointing to Adagio.
Oh, this? This is where my power used to come from. But thanks to Shimmer and the other you, now all I have left is this little piece of what it used to be.
Adagio snarled. Twilight shook her head.
I'm not even gonna ask. Anyway, I have proof that everything we've said is true.
Sunset pulled out a tome from behind her back that had the same design on the cover of it as the one on her shirt.
This is how I communicate with the other you,
she said, presenting it to Twilight.
It's just a book,
Twilight said flatly.
I don't understand how anyone could... What are you doing? Telling Twilight of the current situation.
Sunset responded, scribbling something in the book. Twilight couldn't make out what it was, but to be honest, it all looked like a bunch of squiggly lines.
All done,
Sunset said, dotting what Twilight assumed was a period. Moments later, the book buzzed like a cell phone, and Twilight just stared in awe as Sunset opened it. The older girl handed it to her with a smirk.
It's for you.
Twilight's eyebrows furrowed, but she took the book anyways, her eyes not believing what she was seeing.
Either she has really bad handwriting, or this is a different language because I cannot read a single word this says. Oh, forgot you can't read Equestrian,
Sunset said apologetically, taking the book back.
Equestrian?
Twilight mouthed to herself but let it go. She was honestly so done right now she didn't even care anymore.
I'll read it to you,
Sunset said, clearing her throat.
Dear Twilight, I'm writing to you to show you that Sunset Shimmer is not lying. Everything she is saying is true and you should listen to her. Also, get some friends. Being a social shut-in isn't fun.
Twilight blinked.
Did I just get insulted? By myself? Appears so,
Adagio told her, giving her a once-over.
So she's not wrong. You look like you spent your nights in a basement lab coming up with conspiracy theories.
Twilight laughed nervously.
You don't say.
Author's note. Something little I had in my head at 1 a.m. Hello everyone, this is Visual Pony from Pony&Wolf Productions, and I thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to this video. At this point, I want to thank all of our amazing patrons on Patreon for supporting this channel with their monthly donations and keeping the lights on around here. Now, more than ever, it is important that you support your favorite content creators, because due to YouTube's new content policy changes, we, along with other content creators, had to demonetize a lot of our most profitable videos. For us, those are the Fallout Equestria stories. As you can see on the graph on screen right now, our earnings per video used to be relatively okay. Even though the earnings were never enough for a viable career, it was enough for a good, decent side income. Now we are struggling to pay our bills. If you want to support us for as little as $1 a month, you can do so by clicking on our Patreon link down in the description below. And you can get wonderful perks like, for example, early access to all of our stuff. Sometimes things like this are recorded months in advance. Voice acting lessons from me or Midnight, if you really want to. And you can join our Patreon Discord server. Even though it may look like there's not much going on in there, I am actually checking it on the daily. Thank you for listening to this message, and I wish you a wonderful, wonderful day.